Hey guys, and welcome to season 3 of the Us People podcast. I'm your host, Savia Rocks, and in this season, I get to make my guests laugh, cry, and even make them think about life a little differently with the questions I fire over to them, which digs into their lives and professions a little differently. We even had a chance to change up the intro, giving you a fresh, new sound. I look forward to sharing season 3 of the Us People podcast with you. Let's go.
Yo, what are you saying? It's the Dr. Chima Anya, and you're listening to the Us People podcast with Savia Rocks. Tell it to them.
Made up my mind, now's my time to shine. Now's my time to shine. Time that you let go, now is my time.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Us People podcast. I'm your host, Sammy Rocks, and today I've got Chima here, who is a doctor at the NHS, well, GP doctor at the NHS, and also I can call him a rapper because he is. I've just finished listening to his 2 albums, and he's got skills, even though, he's kind of shy right now. But we're going to talk to it. Chima, thank you so much for coming on the Us People podcast and being a guest. How are you?
I'm great. No, thank you for taking the time to invite me. I'm very grateful to be here, and I'm always up for a good conversation and learning from people in other fields, so thank you. Happy to be here, and if I've got an insight that might help other people as well, I'm more than happy to share that insight, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so thanks a lot.
That definitely makes sense. Thank you. So my first question to you, Chima, is always about everyone's background. I love knowing about people's background because that teaches me something new. So
Okay.
Tell me about your background, where you grew up, what influenced you to be a doctor, what influenced you to do music.
So my dad's Nigerian, my mum's Romanian.
Wow.
I was born in Romania, but I moved to Scotland when I was like 2. And then I moved to England, specifically Oxford, in 95. So I was 11, right? And I think of Oxford as where I come from because that's where I became a person, that's when I, in terms of following the doctor route, that was solely like just my parents, but my dad is very the typical Nigerian education.
Yeah.
You're either a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant. Those are the three options you have, right?
Yeah.
And because I was good at science, I mean, I like science as well. I find science interesting. So doctor was the right fit. Lucky for me, I didn't have to go through the horrible stuff the kids are going through now with the algorithm determining their fate. I managed to get good enough grades. I went to the University of Birmingham and I did medicine. I came to London in 2007 and I've been here since. In terms of the music, it's just I fell in love with hip hop music. Earlier actually, I remember being mad young in the 90s, listening to like Salt and Pepper on the radio and just being like, I was just mesmerized by the slick talking, you know what I'm saying? Like, I loved it. And then when I think I wrote my first rap when I was 13, right?
Yeah.
So that's 22 years ago,
Okay,
bro.
he's showing his age now.
So I scared. No, I ain't gonna hide. You know what I'm saying? Like people are like, wow, you're that old, really? I'm like, firstly, I don't think that's that old.
No, neither do I. Yeah.
But secondly, like 22 years of I've got 22 years of expertise, baby.
See?
You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
22 years. I'm a master, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. So anyway, 13 years. But like, obviously I went to med school and I would say I probably started taking it like proper seriously 2010.
Yeah.
I would say, and I've had some kind of minor successes, and I've had a pretty good like career on the music side, mostly like putting out my own albums, but I've done a lot of performances, both as like an original artist and doing lots of cover band stuff.
Yeah.
So if you're like into like hip hop in London, like the chances are you would have seen me at a show. We did this like series of really popular like orchestral covers of classic hip hop albums just a few years ago.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of that stuff, and now kind of I'm trying to do more of, just do more of the music stuff. Really, I mean, I'm still doing the doctor stuff, but like whilst before it was like doctor first, rapper second, I'm trying to switch that now. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to switch it the other way around, be like rapper first, doctor second. You know what I'm saying? In terms of the decisions I make in my life, in terms of what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that makes definite sense to me. So talk to me more about being a doctor first of all, because that's something beautiful to be able to be a doctor. Walk up to a girl, say, "Hey, I'm a doctor." Because
You-
I saw on your website, hey, the doctor's in the building.
Oh, word. Yeah, no, it is. It's an, you know what? It's an absolute privilege.
Yeah.
It's like there's no other job where someone will just straight off the bat walk in a room, right? You walk in a room, you see me, right? They're not used to seeing people like me
Yeah.
as a doctor, but that doesn't matter. This guy is the doctor. This is the person that they've told me is the doctor. So I'm gonna tell this guy absolutely. I had this one rhyme I used to drop all the time, which was like, I'm the doctor you trusted your life. Tell me things that you wouldn't tell your husband or wife. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like,
true though.
like that's, you know what I mean? So it's an absolute privilege, and I'm honored and I'm grateful and I'm lucky for the job. And yeah, it's amazing, like the amount of job stability as well. Coronavirus, everyone's lost their jobs and things, and doctors were working the whole time, so I'm saying getting paid the same amount. You know what I mean?
I like the way you dropped that in.
I'm not bragging. I'm just saying, like, this is, you know what I'm saying, like, and then it is well paid. I mean, you're not like a footballer, you're not like a pop star. All those bare pop stars are broke anyway.
Yeah.
But like you will always be comfortable if you decide to. I'm just saying this for anyone who's listening who wants to know about the ins and outs of being a doctor and what the truth is. It's comfortable. Yeah, it's a massive privilege. But that being said, it is a really hard job, and it's a job that you never switch off from. Even when you leave, like, you can't just leave it there. It's always there in the back of your head. Did I do the right thing for this patient? Is this patient going to be okay? And then just the transference of energy. So it's like if people are coming to you every day with negative, not negative energy, but they're going through stuff, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And part of our job is to take whatever energy they have, hold that for them, and give them, you know what I mean, some positive energy. You know what I'm saying? That's how I see the role of the doctor. But sometimes taking on board too much of that energy can really kill your energy. You know
I was
what I'm
going to
saying?
ask you that. But how do you deal with it? How do you find peace within yourself when you leave for the day to come back and be re-energized and then do the same thing over and over again? How do you find peace in yourself?
See, for me, what I've done is I have limited my lifestyle so a lot of I probably shouldn't generalize. I've limited my lifestyle. So like as soon as I could, right?
Yes.
I dropped down to, as a trainee, I had to work 5 days a week. Earlier when you were telling me you work 50 hours a week, I was like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Like that whole idea of such a long working week is draining. So for me, like since I graduated, since I did my postgraduate training and became a GP, pretty much straight away, I went down to 3 days a week. You know what I'm saying? Because anything more than that, I can't give you my best because I'm not recharged when I come back. If I've got you can't take too many people's problems on at the same time and give them that same level of attention that they need. It's just physically impossible. Like studies show, there is a limit. There is a human limit to how much empathy, etc., you can exhibit. So for me, the way I've done it, and also work-life balance as well. It's like for me, 100% of my life is not being a doctor. I have other interests, and funnily enough, I think that's what makes me a more effective doctor, because my patients, when they see me, they realize that, oh, hold on, this guy is he's not just some guy who's trapped in the books and is not like, he doesn't know, like, you won't listen to your doctor because you feel like this guy doesn't know about real life. The doctor is just going to say that because that's what the doctor has to say. But when you have someone who's like balanced and knows about the real life, and, saying, they're more likely to be like, oh, okay, or get on board with the advice and things like that. So for me, it's all about about striking that balance.
Yeah.
And that's how I have managed, I feel, to stay well up until this point.
I like the way you said that. You took a break for a second and you said stay well, but with a pause in it.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's a pause. You know what I'm saying? Like my tune, the one of the biggest tunes from that album. Damn, what's my album called?
What?
People forget. Wow, it's called People Forget. Exactly. That's deep right there. You know what I'm saying? Like
It's the first one.
Here's the first one, yeah. So yeah, one of my songs was called Do Less, because I realized, a lot of people were coming to see me, they were mad stressed, and it's just because you're doing too much.
Yeah.
So, but also, like, obviously, if you've got like 7 kids and you got to support your 7 kids, then you got to support your 7 kids, and I can't say anything about that. But it's about setting up your lifestyle so I have a simple lifestyle. Like, my girl's just always trying to get me to buy a house, but I'm just like, do you realize, like now, my lifestyle means that I'm so much happier and healthier, and everyone's happier and healthier because I've not put that pressure on me. See, my second album was called No Pressure. You know what I'm saying? Right? Yeah.
It makes sense.
So I haven't put that pressure on me, and I live. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just live. You know what I mean? I'm not out there trying to rock designer.
Your third album should be called Live Easy.
Live Easy, yeah. My next album, actually, which I'm in the process of writing, is called Modern Fairy Tale, which I'm super excited. Which I'm super excited about. But then my album after that, I've already come up with it.
Go on.
Is gonna be called Don't Complain. So
I'll just buy your albums for the titles, to be honest with you.
Sorry, what'd you say?
I'll just buy your albums for the titles, to be quite honest.
Thank you. Oh man, that's actually a really nice thing to say, because as a songwriter, right? Writing a great title is a part of writing a song, right?
That can sell your song. That can sell your whole song.
100%. So thank you. That's a really kind thing of you to the kind thing for you to say. But so Live Easy as well. Maybe after Modern Fairy Tale and Don't Complain, we've got
Live Easy. No, I like that. That makes sense to me. Let's talk a little bit about medication, because that's something that I wanted to touch on.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Let's talk about it.
So many people have different views on medication. I don't personally take medication. That's just my view on it. Whereas, because I know the effects of different types of medication, and a lot of people have said to me when they go to the doctors, the first thing the doctor does, not saying that you do this, but your opinion would be great on this. When somebody goes to the doctors, the first thing they do is, if they've got depression or anxiety, or you're like a therapist and a doctor in a way. I kind of see it that way. The first thing the doctor does is give them medication. They don't necessarily, the doctors or people that I've spoken to said that they go to the doctor gives them medication, subscribes medication for them, rather than saying, try a healthier route or do something different. Is there a reason for that?
So I'd probably respond to that and say, I don't think that that's what most doctors are doing. I don't think that it's definitely not what we're taught to do. Yeah. We are taught to. So, for example, you use the example of depression and anxiety, and we have these guidelines. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're called the NICE guidelines, which is, I like that. Yeah, NICE. So it stands for National Institute of Clinical Excellence. All right. So, and the guidelines for depression and anxiety, actually, for mild to moderate, would be, actually, first we would look at your lifestyle. We would look at, are you sleeping well? Are you eating well? Are you exercising enough? And then we would look at things like talking therapies, for example, something called CBT, cognitive
Yes.
behavioral therapy, to look at your thought processes and how your thought processes link to your behaviors and your actions, etc. So I wouldn't expect a doctor to just go straight for the pills, to be honest. And I'm not saying that that's not happening, because like we said, like I was saying before, there's the books, then there's the real life situation. And sometimes what can happen is there can be pressure in a situation. So people, it's both ways. Sometimes people want a fix that is, I mean, how many times, you must have heard this, I went to the doctor and they didn't even give me anything.
Yes, I've heard that loads of times.
Well, there you go. So you see, there's a pressure. So if you come to me and you say, oh, I'm feeling low, I feel down, and then I listen to your whole story, I get to know you as a person, know your support networks, know where you're working, and then at the end of it, I say, okay, fine, you're feeling low now. You can try these things in terms of just a healthier lifestyle, and then maybe we meet again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Some people will interpret that as, I went to the doctor, they didn't give me anything.
That's true. That is true.
So there is a pressure in terms of patient expectation, in terms of what will happen. I don't for a second think that all doctors are really quick to give out medication. In fact, I agree with you. Medication is not, I think, I'm happy to say this, medication is not the answer for most things, but for some things,
yes,
medication is very, very important.
I do agree with you there. Okay, yeah.
And I would really encourage people to listen to the professionals, not the people who Google things and look at the first entry, the first sponsored entry on their search. Listen to the professionals who have spent decades, you know what I'm saying? Decades in the field. You know what I'm saying? Because the field is constantly changing as well. And we constantly have to update ourselves.
That's
you know
true.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we have to, we're trained in order to figure out the good studies and the good, because big pharma is a problem as well. So by big pharma, I mean the medication companies, because they just want to make money, and they'll just borderline tell you lies to sell their medicines, right? But we're trained to pick up on that and caught up in the hype, etc., etc. So to answer your question, I don't think doctors are quick to jump on medication for things. I think we are trained to try and look holistically at a problem. I think sometimes if you're in a situation where there's pressure from all angles, so sometimes it might be patient expectations, sometimes it might be the situation, like you don't have enough time. Sometimes you don't have enough time.
Yeah,
you know, there's sometimes a situation might need 45 minutes, but you don't have 45 minutes.
I only have 20.
Yeah. Well, 20 is a luxury still.
Yeah, I know. I saw 10 last time I was at the doctor's. And you have 10 minutes.
So does that answer that question?
Yeah, it answers the question. I'm sure the listeners will be like, yeah, it answers my question. I'm sure, a listener's always going to have something.
Yeah, sure.
You'll say an answer and then the listener will be like, but no, there's this and then there's this. But, there's always someone's always going to have an opinion.
Let me put it this way. If a doctor says to you, if the doctor offers you a medication and then you turn around and you say, no, I don't want to take the medication, the doctor will be happy to explore any other treatment options that will be available and go through them all with you. So if you do find yourself in a situation where you feel the doctor is unnecessarily offering a medication, don't feel free to just say, well, actually, I was thinking, well, why don't I do? So the classic one for me is back pain. My first port of call is physiotherapy, exercise, you know what I'm saying? But people, I find, tend to expect quote unquote painkillers, but actually for most things, for most I'm not saying everything. There is a place and a time sometimes, but for most back pains that I see on a daily basis, it's all to do with, your lifestyle, your posture, how much exercise you do regularly, your approach to pain, how you think about pain, how you interpret pain, and things like that. So, if you go see a doctor and then he turns around and he wants to give you a painkiller, if you turn around and say, no, I want to do some exercises, no doctor is going to argue with you, I promise you.
No.
You know what I'm saying? If I could put it that way. But you're right. You're right. I mean, obviously, we can't generalize. Some doctors probably are not probably working to the optimum capacity and are quick to offer tablets. But I don't think that is how we're taught. I don't think it's how most doctors do. Definitely at the practice I'm at, that's not what happens. Yeah. So I'd like to reassure people that if a doctor is offering you a medicine, then actually they probably think that you would stand to benefit from it. And you're completely right. All medicines have side effects, and the doctor should go through those with you, and let you know, because everything has benefits and risks, and it's all about weighing up the benefits against the risks and thinking, okay, do I want to go ahead with this?
Yeah, that makes total sense to me. Let's talk about mental health.
Okay, sure.
Because here's one for you. I know quite a few people who have mental health, and I'm sure you have many people coming in and talking to you who have mental health.
We all have mental health.
Yeah, well, I have mental happy health, but that's what I call mine, mental happy health.
Mental happy health,
that's what I call mine. So, but in the terms of when it comes to awareness of mental health, how do you feel that mental health and people have become more aware of mental health, and what can we do as individuals, doctors or just normal day-to-day people who are not doctors, help each other to be more aware of mental health?
Yeah, I mean, I think over the years, awareness of mental health has increased. I do think in some cultures, perhaps it's not as far as in other cultures.
That's true.
And in certain demographics, certain age groups as well, because they're not used to that concept, it is a little bit harder to get those ideas across to people. Yeah. But I do think that it has improved massively. And I think that everything lies in education, which is hard at the moment because the schools are closed,
I know.
But and imagine what that's doing for the young people's mental health anyway. But what I was gonna say was it's just about talking about it, taking the stigma away from it. And education. I think podcasts are great. The culture, I see. You're hearing hip hop songs about mental health now, and that's good because back in the day, you wouldn't hear that. You know what I'm saying? Like it might have been stigmatized a certain way.
That's true.
So I definitely think it's improving. It can always get better, but equally there needs to be a little bit of balance. So like you said earlier, like maybe people are quick now to think that they need an antidepressant when actually that's not what they need. What they need is maybe to remove themselves from a toxic situation, or maybe what they need to do is exercise more regularly, because exercise and mental health is really linked as well. It's regular exercise is really good for your mental health and your back pain, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So I just think it's just education. I think it's gotten harder a little bit in terms of getting rid of the misinformation. I think it's easier for misinformation now to spread because of things like social media, and to be fair to the social media giants, they seem to be taking steps to try and clamp down on misinformation. That in itself can have problems because people will start getting paranoid and think that, you know, that they're suppressing good information. You know what I mean? So it's hard. It's hard and it's complex because our world is evolving.
That's true.
But I think we're doing. I think we're doing well, and I think awareness is raising. But I think we do need to be careful about over medicalizing it. You know, and like you said, not just adding medication to it, just realizing that mental health, much like physical health, needs, like, you wouldn't expect to be physically healthy if you didn't do physical things
Yeah,
to
of course.
improve your health. So
Yeah.
the same thing with mental. You have to do mental things. So, for example, the environment you surround yourself in, the kind of thoughts that you allow to perpetuate in your head in order to keep your mental health good, happy. You know what I'm saying? So I think, does that answer your question?
Yeah, we ended on mental happy health, if you realized.
Yeah,
See,
definitely.
so that's a
Because
good
that's the
thing.
goal. That's the goal.
Yeah. I might just put that up somewhere, mental happy health somewhere, and try and promote that because that's really good. Let's talk about your inspirations, because that's always something that is really good to know, especially about you and what you do, and music as well. Yeah, because I know you've decided to do. You're doing 3 days a week, but you want to switch it around. You want to do more music, not less doctor, more music, but just more music. Because is music your number one in your heart?
You know what? That's a really interesting question. I would say possibly. I don't know. Recently, I've been feeling a little bit. I don't know. You know how it is as an artist. You know what I mean? You go through spells of feeling good about what you're doing,
You go
and
through
then
mental blocks and
you go through spells of not feeling so good about what you're doing. I really do interrogate my relationship with music sometimes. And then it's interesting. So at the gig I was at yesterday, I met another artist called Disraeli, and I was just talking to him about having space to find new music in my life. And when I think, when's the last time like I mean, I love music. Music can just transform my mood. And, but when's the last time I really let like a whole project just enter my life and stay there? And then I sometimes think, is my love for music rooted in nostalgia? Do you know what I'm saying? In just like, my favorite albums are still my favorite albums from when I was like 20 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so does that mean that I really love music, or was that, so I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I do. I think I do. I think what I've decided is I want to do what I want to do, and I don't want to do what someone else tells me to do, because I've spent a lot of time doing what other people want me to do. Like when I started this, I told you the reason I went into being a doctor was because my parents directed me in that way. It wasn't a choice that I made. And I feel a little bit like if I go through my life without making my own choice, what will I regret that? You know what I'm saying? Especially when in a lot of my songs, I've got this message of like no pressure, or kind of do what you want to do, like be true to yourself.
Yeah.
I'm like, am I really being true to myself? As much as like I'm grateful for my job, and I love aspects of it, and it's good to me. Am I being really true to myself? Is this really what I want to do? You know what I'm saying? So I'm giving myself that space to find what I truly want. Because the thing with music as well is, if you want to do it right, the way I see it now, the way the industry is now, you have to appeal to a certain demographic, all right?
True.
Like, so you have to make kids, basically, unless you're established or I mean, not, what I'm saying is a half truth, really. You know what I'm saying? Like, because there are niche artists who are doing very, very well, not in, and they don't need to appeal to 13-year-old girls and 14-year-old boys. You know what I'm saying? I don't make music for 13-year-old girls and 14-year-old boys. But the thing about these niche artists are, I think they're not always making hip hop music. Hip hop music is generally a youth orientated genre. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me to realistically be like, okay, I want to establish myself in hip hop as a guy who's like 35 years old, who makes like music that I try to make music that's kind of thought provoking and
I like that.
rooted in musicality as opposed to just like boom, boom, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to sound like some old guy because I listen to drill, I listen to trap music, I like it. You know what I mean? I DJ a lot, I play a lot of that stuff, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh dear, the way you did that. I was like, yeah, I haven't had a bass line like that in a while, actually. I'm just thinking of
yeah,
that. I haven't had a
yeah.
bass line like that just blew up my car while I was driving. But then I'm a jazz lady, so it's totally different.
Okay, yeah,
When
jazz,
I'm
yeah,
a jazz
yeah.
lady, I'm like one. You'll see me in one of those Ronnie Scott kind of environments.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
with a mic in my hand and a saxophone, and
Nice.
that's my kind of vibe. I'm pretty much chilled out a lot of the time. I don't let anything get on top of me because
Mm,
I believe everything is fixable. But that's just my, like you say, mental state. That's my
mm,
mental state saying to
mm,
me, everything is fixable.
mm-hmm.
So I think that's a good place to kind of be when your thought process is like that. It helps you within music as well. And I see things out of the box rather than stepping in the box and trying to just look around the box and blocking myself.
Exactly,
I don't know.
exactly.
I don't know how it is for you in music. How is it for you? Do you sometimes knock your head and you can't think, you can't find a word, you can't find a sentence, you're like, ah! How is it for you when you're actually writing music? Because when I was listening to your music,
Yeah,
okay, I got a really soulful edge to your
thank
music.
you.
It wasn't just you're saying hip hop, but then there's different types of hip hop. There's hip hop like you're in the back of the club and you're getting angry.
Yeah,
That's that hip hop. And then
yeah,
there's I want to really chill and think about stuff hip hop.
yeah. That's
And
my vibe. That's my
that's your
vibe.
kind of vibe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And for me when I was listening, I was like, this is cool. Yeah, I can understand this. But that's the
yeah,
type of hip hop that I listen to.
yeah,
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 so it's different. It resonates something different inside you when you're listening to it. It sparks ideas. It
yeah,
sparks conversation. It
yeah,
sparks different things inside you. But when you're writing,
yeah.
what do you feel when you're actually writing a tune, a song, a melody?
You know what I feel? I feel just pure inspiration. That's what I feel. Like for me, I've been lucky in that I've never really had a period of time when I've not I have a lot of songs. And over the years I've honed my songwriting skills to like before when it was overly kind of technical and trying to be clever to now just like a flow. Like I will freestyle a lot of the flow, for example, and whatever the beat makes me feel is what I do. And then later I'll come back and be like, all right, well, what makes sense? You know what I'm saying? And I'm always like shocked because by the start of the song, I have no idea what the song's about. But then as the song goes along, it's like, oh, this makes sense. Like this links to that and that links to that. And that's like amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love that. I love that process. Like, and that's what happens for me in terms of writing my songs.
Yeah.
My friend had this lyric when we were in a young rap group together, and it really resonates with me. He says, if what I write takes 5 minutes or more, I don't finish it. I consider it forced. Now, I don't say my shit doesn't take 5 minutes. No way, you know what I'm saying? But like that kind of thing, like I'm not trying to force it. And you know what? I've heard a lot of artists that I really rate that have this kind of approach to music. You know, obviously everyone's like Jay-Z doesn't write his lyrics at all, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, when they talk about Biggie, they're like Biggie was just like got on the track and flowed. And if you talk about more recently artists, I saw Tory Lanez recently saying exactly the same thing. He was like, he doesn't, you know what I mean? You just go with the flow. And to me, that's amazing because it's like, there's something on another plane out there that's dictating what's happening. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not like you're not thinking about it too much. So that has been my process. It's really funny because I always say I'll play a beat and then I'll say to my girlfriend Chantel, I'll be like, what does this beat say to you, right?
And what she said?
And she'll always go, beats don't say anything to me, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, and then I'll be like, nah, does it say like, you know? And then just through a conversation, the thing will tease out. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny because she'll say, "Oh, it doesn't say anything to me," and then I'll come back to her and then I'll say, "Yo, this is where I'm coming from. You know, I'm super excited because this idea has just formed. Like as I'm just pacing in my room back and forward, just coming up with nonsense. You know what I'm saying? And trying to put it together. So." That is why, and I truly enjoy that. You know, that's a process for me that, I mean, that's how you start, right? As a kid, like when you were young, and that's how that was the joy in it. You know, you weren't thinking about trying to make a career out of it or trying to make some money. You were just like, I am excited by this process. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where I've gotten back to in I would say the last few years, because I lost it for a while. You know what I'm saying? Like, a few years ago, like there was a big gap between. So before people forget, there was an album called The Doctor's Note, which was really quite dark, right? And I listen to the album now and I'm like, wow, bro, you had issues, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, but there's like 6 years between those albums. Like I thought I was done, but then all of a sudden it just came back, and I'm like, I'm inspired now just by the process of just being me and doing myself and entertaining myself.
I like that. But there's the key. A lot of people always ask, what's the key to music? What's the key to writing good music? You see, where you was talking about your childhood.
Yeah.
And having that resonant energy, that spiritual energy of always being happy and always feeling fulfilled. As we get older, because of the influences in our life, that resonant energy and that spirituality that we have inside us that lifts us disappears. Because we get manipulated by people and we don't realize. And life goes on top, and then we have to work, and stuff builds up within us, and it takes away that fun part of music. So for me, the key to music, I don't know if you agree, you might have a different aspect on it. The key to music for me is having that ability to have that spiritual connection with the music where you feel free and you just jump on it.
100%. I do agree with that. And I think that's why a lot of the, you know, it's funny because everyone's always so impressed by like if a kid comes out and they make some amazing music. But I'm more impressed if like an adult comes out and makes some amazing music for exactly those reasons that you just said. It's like there's so much that can take away from your energy. You know what I mean? And you don't have that time to dedicate to purely transferring I love what Robin Williams said. Robin Williams said that he feels like music is the best example that, you know, magic exists. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's evidence that magic exists, right? So, you know, as a kid, you're still connected to that magic because we protect children from the reality of the world. But when you're an adult, you know what I'm saying? Like trying to get that magic when you got all this other non-magic in the way. Nah, bro, it's hard work, and that's why, like, I had to make a choice because I always put the Doctor number one. Like, music was always second to that. If I had a gig, but I had to work, I would go to work and I wouldn't do the gig. You know what I'm saying? Like, or things like that. Or if I had someone wanted me to rehearse or they wanted me to do some work with them, but I had work would always take priority. But I'm switching it now because and not in a, I'm not doing it. I'm fortunate, like I said, because of my job, that I can go in and out of my job. At the moment, you know, who knows? Coronavirus is changing the world, so who knows? But I mean, I'm confident that I've made that decision, and now I want to focus more on just bringing the magic to the music. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, that definitely makes sense. What would you do if your parents didn't turn around to you and say you have to be a doctor? What do you think you would have been?
That's a great question. I would like to think. I would like to think I would. I think what would have happened is that it's so difficult. But I think what would have happened is I would have probably thrown myself, just based on how I remember things being. I would have thrown myself more into the music.
Yeah.
I would have thrown myself more into the music, like, you know, like how Will Smith always says that, where they always bring up that thing where he says there's no reason for a plan B because it detracts from plan A. He's like, there's no reason for a plan. So it was like, and it's true, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, you know, having to be a doctor, you know, having to pass the exams is hard. It's hard having to do the job, having to turn up, having to, like, because you're doing a serious job, you know what I'm saying? Like,
You are.
you have to be on point all day long, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, listen to, and, you know, you got to listen. And sometimes it's hard to listen, you know what I'm saying? Like, but you got to listen and you got to pay attention, you know? So, yeah, so I would have probably thrown myself, looking back now. However, looking back now, based on what I knew then, I would have probably thrown myself more into the music, been a bit more fearless with it. But however, knowing what I know now, right? If I was to go back now, you know what I would do?
Go on.
I'd be a footballer.
For real? Seriously?
I'm serious. Like, so my little brother, he it sounds weird though to say now, like, he used to be a professional footballer. And I just saw, like, so his story was interesting because my dad really actively discouraged him from playing football, but despite that he made it, and he played pro, and I feel, and just this summer gone, he's retired pretty much. So, and I've seen how amazing the world of football is, and I believe I have the talent to be, well, I had the talent to be a professional footballer. But I mean, obviously it's hard, but like, much like your attitude of anything is fixable, I believe that if you love something enough and you want to dedicate yourself to it, you can make it happen. And so, for example, like something like football, which of course, you know, there's 7,000 boys who are good at football and only one will make it. But football is such a huge industry that if you have a passion for football, you could go into, and you could become a referee.
Yeah, that's
you know how much how much these pro refs earn? You could become a football YouTuber. You know what I'm saying? You could be a football journalist. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's cool.
we had all of these, like, when I was growing up, we had all of these. We were just, like you said, you were put in a box, and they didn't let you think outside the box. But knowing what I know now, if I had to go back then, or if I have children now, the only thing I'm gonna say to my child is, if you love something, because if you love something, you're gonna dedicate, you're gonna be good at it. And when people see someone who is good at something and loves what they do, they respond to that. Like, and it doesn't matter what it is. It's like, if I'm you know what I mean? If I'm in McDonald's and the dude is cleaning the toilet, right? And the dude is like really trying to do a good job cleaning the toilet, you know how much love I have for that dude? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know how much respect I have for that dude? Like, and the thing is that in this world is rare. Like, everyone hates what they do. You know what I'm saying? So you meet someone that really loves what they do. You know what I'm saying? And I guarantee you that person will go far in whatever field, because yeah. So knowing what I know now, that's why I go back and do. I still play football now. and I love it anyway. You know what I mean? Nowadays I'm paying like £8 every time I want to play football, but still it's all love, you know what I'm saying?
It's all right. It's not bad. It's not bad. Let's talk a little bit more about helping people and how to turn your passion into an actual living.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
doctors, we all know we get an education and it's hard. We do exams and then we become a doctor. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. But for music, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
So from your point of view, how do you feel like making a living from music could happen for you?
Yeah. So I actually think now probably is the most straightforward time for you to, if you really want to make a living from music, right? For you to do it. And I'm going to say why, all right? Spotify, okay?
Yeah, true.
People like an artist, I'm an artist, I hate Spotify, but equally I can see now, right?
Yeah.
If you right, you have to look at your music as a business, all right? Full stop. There's none of this, I'm an artist, I'm an artist, I'm an artist, I'm an artist. You got to look at it as a business, right? But the great thing about Spotify now is whereas before it was like you needed to go out there and be on the road and selling your CDs or selling your vinyl, or you don't even need to be out there now. You know what I'm saying? You can do it all from your laptop. Yeah.
Yes.
You gotta make great music. There's no two ways about that. The music has to be great. And then you need to just find a way of leveraging, getting the streams, okay? Getting the streams. You have to release regularly, like the Spotify guy said recently, and everyone got upset. But the truth is, probably now there are so many more people making money off music than there have been in the past ever. Because if you were a musician in the past, it was like that was a life. You were going to be a starving artist, right? But now with all of the tools, right? But you have to be serious about it, okay?
Yeah,
and I'm not saying and I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying that it's probably the best it's ever been, right? And then also you have to diversify, okay? So you got to think about sync, trying to get your songs on adverts, not even just adverts, your songs on YouTube videos. Do you know how big YouTube is now? So big that like people will pay to have music that they can use in their videos. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think that as long as you're willing to play the game a little bit, and my main problem through life is I don't like playing the game, but if you play the game, you're not going to be Jay-Z. Now you got to get out of your head right now. You're not going to be Jay-Z. Not many people are going to be Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? But if you're smart about it, you know what I'm saying, you could be unknown as an artist and make a living from it. And I've seen people do it. You know what I'm saying? For my personal story, there was a point where I could have completely broken from. This is at a time when gigs were still happening, right?
Yeah.
I could have broken from the doctor thing and done music full time, but it would have been more as a session musician, like doing like functions and things like that. It's not what I wanted to do, but if you do love music, then know that that's also an option, because for some people that might be what they want to do. People would come up to me when I was doing function gigs, and they would be like going, oh, this is so amazing. This is what I want to do. And like me as like, I want to be an artist, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to do function gigs, but for someone else, that might be what they want to do. So that was an option, but like, hopefully gigs will come back. I can't see
so.
I can't see a world without gigs, but yeah. So what I think it is about now is it's about building it's about building your brand basically,
Yeah.
and building a relation. It's just like a shop, right? You have to think of your music like a shop. People come to your shop. If they have a good time when they come to your shop, they're gonna come to you. You say, yeah, come back again. Thank you. Please come back. They're gonna come and support you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and with the algorithms, you put something out, all you need is enough people to at the same time to be like, oh, this song is great. The algorithm pushes you up. It shows you to even more people. Someone in there might like what you do, then latch onto it. And then what you do might bring value to that other person. They might find your songs help and uplift them and make them happy, which is so valuable. So yeah, I think it's a good time. It's hard. It's hard, and you will probably you have to not be afraid to invest in yourself is another thing as well.
That's true.
Because things cost money.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, and what I'm saying, and that was something I struggled with as well. I didn't want to spend any money, which was stupid, but like you have to spend money. What I'm saying, like that's how. Like they don't tell you that when you're like you feel like a fool. Why am I wasting my money on this? No, you're not wasting your money. You're investing in yourself.
That's
what I'm
true.
saying. So you got to but obviously invest wisely. So these are what all my to say, if anyone else, and I'm not trying to act like I'm the most successful musician of all time. I would say I have had a level of success that I'm actually proud of. To go hand in hand with being a doctor at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I do have some sort of insight into this for someone who's coming into it cold. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to hit me up and have a chat, I'm more than happy to point them in the right direction of various things that I think can help. You know what I'm saying? Like, how crazy it is now with social media advertising. You can pick exactly the age, exactly the location. So say you have say you have a show and you only want to advertise to the people on your ends. You know what I mean? You can go on Facebook, you can pick those people, and then you can just show that ad to those people, and they'll be like, hold on, ain't that fucking... Sorry, I don't know if I can swear.
Of course you can swear. You can swear.
I can swear. Yeah. Ain't that Johnny from Block C? I didn't know he made tunes. Oh, this is kind of banging. You know what I mean? Like, that's how targeted you can get with your advertising. You couldn't do that before. You had to waste thousands on radio ads, that were going to people that weren't interested in what you were doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, now, super pinpoint. You need to learn how to be good at that. There's no two ways about that, or get someone to do it for you. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. Well, that makes sense to me. See, guys, you just got a whole heap of knowledge for free just there. Yeah. And you should have seen him. He was in his zone. So when people are in their zone on the Ask People podcast, I let them stay in their zone. He's laughing. It's true. I let them stay in their zone because that's when you know what they're saying is coming from their heart. You know that spiritual place we were talking about?
For sure, man. Yeah. For sure. This is how I feel, you know what I mean?
And we both got big hair, so we have to let that come out. The zone. You have to let it come out. What are you most proud of that you stand for?
Integrity.
Oh, I like that. No one's ever said that to me.
Really?
Yeah, no one's ever said that to me.
What do people say?
They talk more about themselves. No, actually, they do talk about kindness.
Kindness, that's a nice one.
That's a nice one. Compassion, that's another nice one. Love, that's always another one.
Love.
Happiness and how to get happiness and be happy within yourself. Understanding. I've had understanding before.
That's a really good one. Understanding. That's great.
Because a lot of people, I think, have kind of lost that trait.
Yes. Understanding. That's a big part of my job as well, because I have to see people from all types of walks of life and really understand why it is they feel how they feel. So, and I feel like if we all had more understanding of each other, it would solve a lot of the problems that we have. So understanding is a great one, actually.
Yeah. Understanding is a good one.
Great thing to stand for.
I've had a really good one. The one I liked is self-worth.
Self-worth.
I loved that one.
Yeah,
when they get, and
that's a good one. That's a good one.
I think it may have been even the therapist that said that to me, actually, when I was when I was speaking to her. She said self-worth. It was another lady who said self-worth too. A lot of women say self-worth for some reason. I don't know why.
Okay, yeah. I wouldn't to mansplain, you know what I'm saying? So,
Mansplain. Oh
definitely
dear.
there's a conversation to be had about, the patriarchy or whatever, and
Yeah.
that's a big problem. I
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, listening to all those things now, I feel a bit bad, but
Why?
well, because for me, integrity, I guess, integrity. So, for example, I was really impressed. Did you see, the BBC? They did that. What's it called when you tell like a news story about someone, and they use the N word in the news report? Did you see that thing?
No, I didn't see it.
So they made a news report, and they used a white presenter used the N word in the news report. Right? Everyone was upset. Okay, so many complaints to the BBC, and the first response from the BBC was, "No, we were fine. We were fine using it. You guys are just oversensitive or whatever. This was completely justified." And then there was a DJ from One Extra called Sideman, who, when they came out and said that, he turned around and said, "You know what, guys? I can't be part of a corporation who thinks this is okay." And he resigned from his post.
Wow.
And then literally the same day, the BBC flipped and they were like, "We're really sorry." And then they turned around and they said, "You know what? We got this wrong." You know what I'm saying? So to me, that's a level. That's a level of integrity
Yes.
that I massively respect, because only through integrity and standing up, even when it's against our commercial interests, can we make things happen that are actually better for everyone. And I think it's very hard to have integrity, especially in this day and age now, where it's like, do you remember like selling out used to be a thing? You can't sell out anymore. You can't sell out. There are no sellouts. We're talking about, bruv, I'm making money. Like, what's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, I don't think integrity is as great as understanding, because understanding is great, but I do think integrity is important in trying to make sure the right thing happens for the right reasons, which sometimes might mean you have to be unkind. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you might have to, you might have to be unkind, and you might have to be a bit cruel. You have to be cruel to be kind on that kind of level. So, but yeah, I'm a big fan of integrity, and I feel like throughout my career, like I said, there was that option for me to go all the way corporate. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it never really crossed my mind to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, some people can, and some people are happy. You know what I'm saying? And if you are, hats off to you. We need you. We need. There's a role for everyone.
We need the balance. Yeah, we need the balance. I know we need the balance.
But for me, it's just, it's all about integrity.
Here's one for you. If someone gave you the option, let's say God, because he has the most power, okay? If God gave you the option to be the best rapper in the world or the best doctor in the world, and you were only allowed to choose one, which one would you choose?
That is an amazing question. I love that question. And you know what? Straight away in my head, I was like, best doctor in the world.
For real?
What? If I was the best doctor in the world, like that's legendary status to me.
But then there's also best rapper in the world. Do you know what best rapper in the world is too?
Best rapper in the world is like what? Jay-Z? Or there are best rappers in the world right now, right?
But I mean above him.
Yeah, but still, so what? Like, I look at these best rappers. What have they done?
but you could be a great. I'm happy you chose great doctor. I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Do you understand? Like, the people that created antibiotics, people that created anesthesia, people that create vaccines.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I would if if I was super talented in that way, the thing is, you know what? I would love to become more of a prominent doctor than I am. The problem with that is, obviously systemic racism is a big issue. You know what I'm saying? So I know how the game works. I've been given opportunities to take a step up in the doctor game, but I know that it would crush me, like, because of the level of integrity that I have. I wouldn't be able to play the game that they want me to play, and then I would get shut down quick. You know what I'm saying? So even though I'm sat here and I'm saying, like, I want to do more of the music than the doctor thing, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I have the utmost respect for the doctors and the people at the top of the game that are making these massive decisions that are showing how the coronavirus came. Who did you look to? We look to the doctors. We didn't look to Kanye West and sorry, I keep swearing.
It's fine. You can swear. It's okay.
It just feels natural, but I
Let
feel
it be
wrong
natural.
when I'm out here, like, representing the doctor side of me. I feel like I should.
Let
Well,
it
there
out.
you go.
Let
Exactly.
it out.
Imagine if I was a prominent doctor.
I want you to let it out. I don't want you to hold it in. I want you to be like, if you're gonna say it, just say it. Let it flow.
Yeah. So when coronavirus came, we didn't look to Jay-Z. We didn't look to Kanye West. We didn't look to Cool G Rap. We didn't look to. Let me say a recent rapper now, so I don't sound like an old guy. We didn't look to Logic. We didn't look to Travis Scott. You know what I'm saying? We looked to the doctors.
That's true.
We looked to Tony Fauci. We looked to Chris.
I need to
Whitty.
talk to Fauci. Yeah.
Huh?
I need to talk to Fauci.
Oh, you need to talk to Fauci.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not saying he's the guy. I'm just saying look at his place in society.
Yeah.
Look at the rapper's place in society. And but don't get me wrong. There are some rappers who have done amazing stuff, like more of the kind of conscious-minded rappers. You know what I'm saying, like Public Enemy, Chuck D, KRS-One, people that really had a message and really strove to elevate people's understanding and things like that. But still, like a doctor, like the top doctor, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Come on,
top. No one is above you. You are king of kings.
If God wants to make me the best doctor in the world, I would take that in a second over being the best rapper. And that's a super interesting question. That's really cool. That really opens your mind. You know what I mean?
Who are your personal heroes? Who you hold in close regards to you? Who are your personal heroes?
All right. So my personal heroes. Honestly, I would say, and this is gonna sound weird, but I'm just gonna be honest. I feel like Jesus Christ is a personal hero of mine.
Mm-hmm.
I would say my little brother is a personal hero of mine. I'd say my girlfriend is a personal hero of mine. I'd say my dad and my mom are personal heroes of mine. I would say some of the people at the practice that I've worked at for almost 10 years now are, some of the more senior docs there are personal heroes of mine, because they, although we don't agree on everything all the time, they show me, they've opened my mind up to more understanding, shall we say.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to think. Like when you say personal hero, you're like people who in my life I look to and I like
you look up
like
to.
get inspiration from.
Yeah.
Like all pretty much all of my friends. Like I look at my friends and and in their individual situations, I take inspiration from the decisions that they've made that are very brave. Like I've got friends who have moved away to pursue whatever it is they want to pursue. You know what I'm saying? So I have a friend called Steph, she's actually the singer on Do Less, that I take a lot of inspiration from. I have a friend called Chidi who's in Dubai. I take a lot of inspiration from him. Actually, with Chidi and Steph, we started a night together in London where we were DJing, you know what I mean? And that lasted until coronavirus wiped it out. That was years, you know what I'm saying? We did that for create something from nothing. So that's pretty heroic to me. My boy Solo Cypher, he does like a lot of stuff with teaching and Adventure Playground, and he does a lot of stuff for special needs kids, and he's just got so much energy. I find that quite heroic. Who else do I need to shout out? DJ Sideman, like I said, what he did when he quit the BBC, that was quite heroic. I looked at that and I was inspired. Can I pick a fictional character?
Go for it. Hey.
I'd have to say Jack Bauer is one of my personal heroes.
Jack Bauer.
You know what I'm saying? Like that dude, he was just all about getting it done, man. There was a problem, he had to get it. You know what I'm saying? He was just all about the bottom line. Definitely Jack Bauer.
Oh,
is that enough heroes? I have a lot of heroes.
That's enough for me. Here's one for you. What is a passion of yours that you rarely share with people that you work with?
Oh, that I work with?
Yeah.
I'm a pretty open guy. They know I love video games. They know I love football. They know I love music.
Is there anything that you like doing that you've never shared with anyone?
I mean, hold on.
Hold on.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? Like, what do I like doing that no one really knows I like doing? I guess I like the whole photography video thing, but then I guess people know that as well because I do so many of my own videos, and I guess, but like people might not know to the extent that I've really gone in with that kind of stuff. Yeah. But that's sort of my newest thing, you know what I mean? So it's I'm pretty open. Like people know. I don't really hide. I'm trying to think really.
I've got another one. I don't. No, I've got another one for you when you're ready.
Oh yeah. No, go ahead, because
What's the best advice? What's the best advice you've ever received?
Right, the straight thing comes into my head. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Have you seen The Wire?
Yes.
Right. Obviously you remember Marlowe, right?
Yep.
Do you remember when he takes the and it's not advice to me, but it was advice, right? And I picked up on it, and to me it informed my life. You remember when the security, when he pays for like a bottle of water, but then he takes a lollipop, right, in front of the security guard. Spoiler alert, by the way, if you've not seen The Wire, you know, you need to see The Wire, number one, and B, maybe just like mute for like 3 minutes or something, because I'm gonna be talking about this for a minute. Right? So he takes the lollipop and then he walks out of the thing right in front of the security guard. The security guard has integrity, so he steps to him and he goes, "Come on, man. What you see me standing here, right? What are you doing?" You know what I mean? And then Marlowe turns to the security guard and he goes, "Your problem is you want it to be one way, but it's the other way." And that's all he says to him, right? He drives off. Like few scenes later, he kills the security guard like it's nothing. You know what I'm saying? Just for that. And I hated Marlowe for a long time, right? But there was so much truth in what he said that resonated for me. It was like, I used to get so angry because I wanted it to be a certain way. Life should be like this. This person should act like this. That person should act like that. But it's not like that. it's the other way. And once you accept that, I'm not saying like you just accept that and let it go. And I mean, you pick your battles.
Yeah.
I guess it's like picking your battles. You know what I mean? Which has been said to me before, but has sort of like washed over my head. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that from what Marlo was saying to that guy, to me, is like when you said that to me, what's the best piece of advice? Is that you want it to be one way, but it's the other way, and that's it. And then when I came to start to realize that in like the last few years, I've become more at peace. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the other way.
There's my
you know what I mean?
There's my peace question. Mm-hmm.
So that is the best advice. Best advice, probably second best advice, I would say, is don't be so sensitive.
I've heard that before too.
Which was great advice for me because I'm way too sensitive.
Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense. No, I understand that one. I've been told that a few times. Yeah, don't be so sensitive. Yeah, okay. And yeah.
It was good. Seriously, it helped me out. But Marlo's is the one that really was like, yo, advice. Like next level advice, you know what I'm saying? But like don't be so sensitive is like one of those, it's great advice, but it sort of seeped in slowly, you know what I'm saying?
It makes sense.
Infected my body.
Here's one for you. If you could choose one quote that, well, you just said don't be so sensitive, I suppose. I won't even ask you that question now. I'm going to skip it.
All right. However you feel, you know what I'm saying? However
I'm going to skip it because I feel that that's most probably your best quote. Would that be your best quote?
Best quote in what context?
The best quote that resonates with you. I think that one would have been your best quote, really. Unless you have a best quote.
Best quote. Best quote of all time. But I feel like you can't do that. A quote has to be.
You can't do that.
No, you can't. A quote has to refer to something, because there are so many great quotes out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
but that's the thing. That's the thing that catches you. You know, when I just jump out at you and I say, "What's the one quote that represents you as a person?" What quote would you choose and why would you choose it? And you're like,
well, that represent. See, okay, so there we go. Now we have context.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want a quote that represents me as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a famous thing that someone has said, right?
It doesn't have to be famous. It just has to resonate with you as a person.
Real recognize real.
I've heard that before, most definitely.
Real recognize real. Okay. That's my quote.
All right. There. Here's the next one.
Write that one down.
All right. Here's the next one for you. Okay. Yeah. If you had an unlimited budget of money, so no matter how much you spent, you earned 10 times more. What would you change? And because you do 2 professions, I'm going to say 2 things. What would you change in the music industry? And what would you change in the medical industry?
So I feel like one of the biggest, obviously the medical, that's like quite a complicated question. And like there's a chronic underfunding of the health service in the UK. You know, we spend so much less as a proportion of our GDP compared to other countries on healthcare. So there's loads of places that I think could benefit from funding in our healthcare system. I think priorities probably would be social care and also mental health. So that's probably where I would go first. from the medicine side. I hope that's a fairly vague answer, but it's a
It's
really
an answer.
hard. It's an answer, and it's a really hard question to answer. But that's what I would do with that. So focusing on mental health, supporting mental health, more therapists, more opportunities to do things to improve mental health, more, community orientated, community centers and activities, parks, gardens, that kind of thing. And then with social care, really improving the standard of carers that go out, have time with people who have care needs. Because a lot of the time with an aging population, it's those people who end up in hospital and then they can't get out of hospital because there's not adequate care for them in the home. And then there's massive costs associated with being in hospital, massive risks associated with being in hospital. I think that would be a great place to start. In terms of the music industry, that's really hard. I would like for it to go back to a time where you could take risks with music again.
Yeah, I miss that.
Like now it's all very data driven, very algorithm driven, and that's a bit suffocating. So if I had money and it was, I didn't need to worry about getting the return on my investment, or it was definitely going to come, I would take more risks to put out music that wasn't algorithm friendly, that wasn't that didn't fit the niche, that was out of the box, that could lead to more inspiration and more people turning around and going, you know what, I want to do it like that. I want to do it like the same way everyone else is doing it. So that's what I would do. And that's actually a dream of mine, to like be successful enough to like be able to put out some music, right? And put a real budget behind it, right? And then but it not be like anything else. You know what I'm saying? It like, it's like what, and then like it developing its own audience, and it's like, oh wow, okay, this is something we can get with, and then a whole bunch of new people like that could come through, because that's how it happens. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Like, there needs to be a scene, but as Skinny Man said, there can't be no scene without no financial backing. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only thing we've been lacking.
That's true. I've got two more for you, okay?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Right. So my second to last one would be, what advice would you give your fans or followers out there about being positive, especially within the music business or becoming a doctor? Because sometimes we feel like we don't have support, we feel like we have lack of funds, which we just spoke about, or we feel stuck because of our backgrounds, where we grew up, where we come from. What advice would you give, knowing that you have a cultural background of just staying on the right path and going for what you love?
I would say, a positive mindset is essential. And I do honestly believe you can do whatever you set your mind to, despite, of course, there are barriers. I'm not denying the barriers. I would say that don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't be afraid to, if you see someone and you feel like this person could point me in the right direction, ask them. You know what I'm saying? Because people generally are more than happy to, in my experience, you know what I'm saying, be like, if you sent me a message like, oh, yo, man, I came across this, I was wondering if you could tell me how you did that, or what you did that. Like, I feel like now people are much more happy to share stuff. Look at YouTube, man. Look how many videos there are on YouTube. These people are giving away full on university degrees on YouTube for free.
That's true. That is true.
The information is out there. Do you know what I mean? The tips, the tricks, the hacks, the advice, it's all there. You're saying positive. You have to be positive, and people respond to positivity. You come to someone with some positive energy. If they sense that you have positive energy, they're like, I'm gonna deal with this guy.
I like this, yeah.
And or girl, sorry, because it's you know what I'm saying, we gotta keep it real. You know what I'm saying? So Yeah, positive. You have to be relentlessly positive. You know what I'm saying? Uh, and I like what Will Smith when he said when he was like, you have to be a little bit deluded that what is going to happen for you, like something that's never happened for someone else is
It's
going to
gonna
happen
happen
for
for
you.
you.
You know, and I still feel like that. You know what I'm saying? That's why age 35, I was like, you know what, rap music is the number one thing for now. Rapping and the doctor thing, obviously I'm gonna keep up to date, I'm gonna keep doing it, but it's like now I'm gonna be like, yo, if I need to bring the magic through, I'm gonna need to make some space to bring the magic through. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like,
That's what I'm
so
talking about.
positivity, believe in yourself, like, and it sounds cliched and you've heard it a million times before in a million different self-help things, but it's the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't change the truth.
That's true. No, that's definitely true. And my final question for you is, where can we find you on all your social medias?
Yeah, my social media is a mess. I'm so sorry. So
The
my
way
name
it says it.
my name is my name is Chima Anya, right? Which is ChimaAnya, right? But on Instagram I'm Dr. Chima Anya, so that's Dr. Chima Anya. And then obviously on Spotify I'm just Chima Anya. On YouTube I'm just Chima Anya. On Facebook I'm It's the Doctor, just to make things more complicated. I should have just had the same one for each one, but you know, I was an idiot. You know what I'm saying? I didn't.
No, you're
I
not.
was I was just trapped up in just making music, and I wasn't really paying attention to stuff like that's really important. You know, search engine optimization. Make sure you're easy to be searched. You know, come up with the name that not everyone else has, so when they search you, you come up. You know, you might have to change the spelling or whatever, that kind of thing. These are tips, but yeah, Chima Anya, you search for me on Google. If you're that way inclined, you will find stuff. I'm there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Jim, I want to thank you so much for coming on the Ask People podcast. I've definitely did enjoyed our discussion today.
Oh no, thank you for inviting me. I enjoyed our discussion as well. And you know, when you get asked these probing questions, it's good for you as well as a person who's been asked the questions, because it makes you think. You know what I'm saying? And it makes you reflect on really is what you're saying. And you know, I feel like I've come away with some knowledge myself as well. So
That's cool.
yeah, I'm grateful and thank you so much.
You're welcome, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the Ask People podcast. Please remember you can subscribe to Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and we're on SoundCloud now, and any other platform that you prefer to listen to. Please also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also donate to the Ask People podcast by the Savvy Rocks website, or just type in paypal.me/Ask People podcast. Thank you for listening. Stay happy, stay positive, and as always, please continue to be kind to one another.
Now's my time, now's my time, time to let it go. Now's my time, now's my time, time to let it go. Now is the time for me to focus. Stop all that playing hocus pocus. Stop doing it yourself. You need a little help. This time I wanna see you shining.
Yeah, I'm proud of my situation and grateful for my situation, and happy and more than happy to talk to anyone who's doing. That's why when I said if someone's doing something positive, you know what I'm saying, I've got time for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not, you know, because we all, by all being positive together, we make life better for everyone.
That's true.
And that's what the ultimate goal is, you know what I mean, in everything that we do.
Now is my time to shine. Time that you let go, time that you let go. Now is my time to shine. Time to let it go. Now is my time, now is my time. Time to let it go. Now is my time, now is my time. Time to let it go. Now is my time, now is my time. Time to let it go. You are your own worst enemy. Thinking too far, what's ahead of me? One day at a time. Just enjoy the ride. Open those eyes, see the light. Ignite that fire inside it. Let it breathe breath into life. Push all your fears to the side. Control your mind, it's all alright. Enjoy your life, the joy is mine. Commit to you, you got the tools. Everything you do, you make the rules. Sometimes you need